right, hello there, thrill seekers. That was the bass riff from Vicki Sue Robinson's 1976 disco hit Turn the Beat Around, played by me slightly wrongly, with the string part played on mellotron slightly wrongly and everything. But it sounded kind of cool, okay? I think it sounded cool to me anyway. So, the reason I picked that riff to play is because somebody asked me about a little thing that Dogan says, and I'm going to find it here on my phone, because I put it on my phone. And it's a phrase of Dogan's that's very popular to talk about turning the light around. And the phrase as it appears in the Shobogenzo, translated by Nishijima and Cross, is learn the backward step of turning light around and reflecting it. And it appears in an essay called Fukan Zazengi, which appears in a supplement to Shobogenzo Volume 1, if you're looking at the Nishijima Cross version. It also appears in Enlightenment Unfolds by Kazuaki Tanahashi. I believe this is now published in a different cover. And if you want to get really deep, there is a whole book about Fukan Zazengi, or kind of about Fukan Zazengi, called Dogan's Manuals of Zen Meditation by Carl Bielefeld. So let me give you some context. Fukan Zazengi is, let's see how Nishijima and Cross give the title. They give the title as, what do they say? Universal Guide to the Standard Method of Zazen. And other people give it, let me just be persnickerty about details. Kazuaki Tanahashi's version is called Recommending Zazen to All People. And I don't know what Bielefeld, let's see, Carl Bielefeld calls his, I think he just calls his, no. He doesn't give his a title. He just calls his Fukan Zazengi. Anyway, so there you go. There's some different titles for it. And let me give you a little context. I'm not going to read the whole Fukan Zazengi. It's not one of Dogan's longer pieces. But let me just read you the piece where that phrase appears. It goes like this. He's basically describing to you how to do Zazen, and the particular segment in which that phrase appears goes like this. Therefore, we should cease the intellectual work of studying sayings and chasing words. We should learn the backward step of turning light and reflecting. Body and mind will naturally fall away, and the original features will manifest themselves before us. If we want to attain the matter of the ineffable, we should practice the matter of the ineffable at once. And if you want to get another angle on it, a different translation, let's see how Kazuaki Tanahashi and his co-translator, I don't know who his co-translator is on this one. Let's see how he translates it. Hence, you should stop searching for phrases and chasing after words. Take the backward step and turn the light inward. Your body-mind will itself drop off and your original face will appear. If you want to attain just this, immediately practice just this. And Carl Bielefeld's version, which is, he parses the paragraphs a little bit differently, but his version of the same segment would go, therefore stop the intellectual practice of investigating words and chasing after talk. Study the backward step of turning the light and shining it back. Body and mind will drop away of themselves, and your original face will appear. If you want such a state, urgently work at such a state. And if you're one of the 4% of Americans who is allowed to go in the San Francisco Zen Center these days, I think it's less than 4% of America is allowed to go into the San Francisco Zen Center these days. They're really cultivating a niche market up there, I guess. But the San Francisco Zen Center's version, which I guess is based on the version approved by the Soto Shu of their English version goes, you should therefore cease from practice based on intellectual understanding, pursuing words and following after speech, and learn the backward step that turns your light inwardly to illuminate yourself. Body and mind of themselves will drop away, and your original face will be manifest. If you want to attain suchness, you should practice suchness without delay. And the suchness and all of that is inmo, the ineffable. That's how Nishijima Roshi liked to translate it. So we're talking about a phrase that in the original Japanese goes something like this. I'll put it on the screen for you nerds who like to see Japanese words on screens. It goes like this. Sube karaku, eiko heisho no taiho manabesu beshi. So the first word, sube karaku, means by all means. Eiko means revolve. The first character means revolve. The second character means light. Hensho is reflect. No is of, so of reflecting, and then because Japanese is backwards as compared to English. Taiho is literally backwards step, means retrogress is what the translation software I use came up with for that, but literally backwards step. O is a direct object of action. It's kind of a particle. Don't worry about it, Japanese grammar. Manabesu beshi is should learn. So learn the backward step of turning light around and reflecting it is probably as good a translation as you're going to get. That's the Nishijima cross translation. And as you heard when I gave the various other translations, they're all kind of the same. Now, if you look at really ancient sources in Buddhism, what you often get in Indian and Tibetan sources, which tend to be the oldest, you can argue with me in the comments section about who's got the oldest versions of Buddhism, they tend to be very wordy with lots and lots of descriptions, and what to do while you're meditating tends to be extremely detailed. And if you go to meditation centers where they do guided meditations, there's a guy, maybe a man or a woman, who sits there while you're meditating and tells you what to do during each phase of the meditation. I've never done a guided meditation. Well, one time a couple of years ago, because I thought people were kind of generally freaking out, I provided my version of a guided meditation to help people who were freaking out, who were very new to meditation. That's the one and only time I've ever done a guided meditation. I'm not a real fan of the whole guided meditation thing. Zen is real famous for having really, really unguided meditation, which means you don't have anybody telling you what to do while you're meditating. You basically, go sit down and shut up was the title of my second book. That's what we basically tell you to do when we tell you what to do for meditation. But in guided meditations, they'll tell you, now concentrate on your elbows, now concentrate on your toes, feel the guided warm light, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. See, that I can't even do a good parody of a guided meditation because I think I've been to guided meditations twice in my life, and I've been meditating for almost 40 years. So, that's how often I've done guided meditations. Zen, when they tell you what to do, especially when they tell you what to do with your noggin, what to do in your head when you're meditating, it's basically really, really not much. And Dogan does what a lot of Zen people do when he tells you what to do with your head when you're meditating, what to do inside your head, is he gives you one little bit of instruction. Learn the backward step of turning light around and reflecting it, and then leaves you. That's it. And to me, that's what he wants to say, and that's all he wants to say. The rest of Fukan Zazengi is mostly instructions on the physical practice. He tells you where to put your legs, where to put your hands, put your back straight. He tells you about the history of Buddha and his attempts at doing meditation. He tells you how great Zazen is. He tells you a bunch of other stuff about Zazen. But as far as what to do inside your head, he basically says turn the light around and reflect inward. Now, my questioner who asked me the question asked me what that means. So I'll just do my best and I'll tell you what that means to me. One good description of what that means to me I talked about last week in one of my videos. I think it might have been the video I did last Thursday, I'm not sure. But it's a quote by Ramana Maharshi, and he said, "Try to realize that the body is not you, the emotions are not you, the intellect is not you. When these are stilled, you will find something else is there. Hold it that it will reveal itself." To me, that is kinda, sorta saying the same thing as, I want to get the Dogan quote right, take the backward step and turn the light inward. Look who is meditating. Meditate on the meditator is another version. That might be Nisargadatta Maharaja's version. I can't remember who said meditate on the meditator. Ramana Maharshi said, "Who am I?" Different meditation teachers have said it differently in different traditions. To me, it's the silence. The silence that is there when all else is absent. There is something there sort of reflecting the world, and that is you. You are reflecting the world, and the world you are reflecting is you. So the world outside is also you. So the world inside we generally feel that we have an inner world which is me, and the outer world is other. And what the Zen philosophers and a lot of other philosophers in other traditions are saying is that dichotomy, is dichotomy the word? See, I'm bad with English. That division, there's somebody who I have a division with. These people race up and down this street. It's crazy. Anyway, that division is false. That division of the guy racing down the street and me calmly making a video about Zen is false. That's me, and I'm me, and this umbrella, which you can't see over here, the sun umbrella, is me, and the amplifier, which you can't see, is me, and this Bose is how you actually say it in German, speaker is me, and Ziggy over here under the table, you can't see him either, is me. It's all me, and me is reflecting me. And that's what we see in Zazen. But most of us, especially when we're beginning, when we're starting out in the practice, we can't really notice that. So Dogan is saying, turn the light around and reflect. What does he say? Let's read some of these other translations. Take the backward step and turn the light inward. Study the backward step of turning light and shining it back. Learn the backward step of turning light around and reflecting. So kind of studying what is looking at the world. We're always kind of outward. We're always kind of looking outward and pointing everything outward. Well, what happens when we point it back? When we point the attention back and go, okay, what's actually looking outward? What's this thing that is looking at everything else? What's that? Who is that that's looking at everything? In other words, meditate on the meditator. Or what did Ramana Maharshi say? When we realize the body is not me, the emotions are not me, the intellect is not me, what else is there? What else is there other than all this stuff we're usually pointing at? Or either these objects outside of ourselves, or the emotions, or all this stuff that's kind of up there on the surface, disturbing the peace. What's the actual silent something that is experiencing all of this? Turn the light around and reflect it inwards. See what's there. I kind of, Dogan didn't know anything about spotlights, but I imagine those spotlights that you see in back when I lived in Los Angeles, you'd see them all the time when they had premieres, and there were these lights that were shining up into the air, to try to attract people to movie premieres and things. I think, okay, take one of those big spotlights that's shining up into the air, and instead of shining up into the air, shine it back on whoever's got the spotlight, and you'll go, whoo, there, shine it back on me. And see who's there. That's the image I've got. But again, this is not a technique that needs to be learned. So it's you don't really have to worry about that. You know, the thing is, the reason Dogan just says that one little phrase and then kind of leaves it at that without explaining it or giving you a lot of details or a lot of techniques around it to explain what it is and give you more details is because that's the point. He doesn't want to give you a bunch of more details, because if he gave you a bunch of more details, then he's just giving you a technique, and what you do with that is you'd turn it into a technique that would make your mind busy, and then you'd be busy trying to perfect this technique, and you get lost in the technique, and you'd miss the whole point of even doing what he's trying to get you to do. So there you go. I don't know. Did I explain anything? Not sure. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the song, and you know, turn the light around, reflect it backwards in yourself. There you go. Anyway, if you want to help me reflect light back in on myself, you can go to the URL you're seeing on the screen below, which is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. There you will find links to my PayPal and Patreon accounts. Those are my main and usually only ways of making a living. I just returned from Europe a couple of weeks ago and made some money there, but that'll last me for a month or so, and then it'll run out, and I will again be dependent on your donations for my support, because that is the way I get most of my support. So I thank you for your support, and I really appreciate it. But as always, this is offered for free, so you don't gotta support me if you don't want to support me. But I do thank you for your support. Anyway, we will see you next time. Have a good time all the time. See you later. Bye. Hey, stretchy boy. How you doing? Oh, flappadoodles. All right, Ziggy. You ready to go back inside and edit the video? And turn the light around on the video? Alright. Oh, scratchies. Alright. We'll go edit the video now.